brand new episode here on 1950's Farm. So, we finally muck spread this field, and this is all that I had left, so I'm just literally running the last little bit off into the field. And as I say, we didn't do too bad. We literally, but for I think there was about 1,000 litres left over in the field. I was going to leave it there, but I don't know, it just seemed a bit of a shame really, so I thought, well, we'll spread it on the field, and that'll be the muck for this year then gone. Yeah, I couldn't believe that there was literally just enough. I finished the last breed, and then and because I've been overlapping as well, I don't know if you can tell, but the sort of really dark orangey bit, it's a bit better for like that, but at the top of the screen there is the manure in sort of the distance. That's how I've been sort of picking my line, but I think I've been overlapping quite a lot, so if it wasn't really for the overlapping, I think I would have had quite a bit left over, but I wanted to overlap to make sure that I covered the field. I mean, the far end bit, I didn't get all of that, I know I didn't, but you know, it was kind of, yeah, I was worried at the back end bit that I wouldn't have enough for all of the main field, and we'll take these back to the yard, and I'll give them a wash for the dairy. Give the muck spreader a wash. But yeah, and I was worried that I wouldn't have enough manure for the main part of the field. I know, technically speaking, it's all part of the field, but I would rather not cover a small area than cover a small area and leave a really massive area, because the benefit is lost. If you leave the big area free, the benefit is lost, and so therefore, as I say, I was a bit worried. So I sort of spread it, but there were gaps in it. Whereas the main area, because that is such a big area, I wanted to cover that, because I want maximum yield and benefit from next year, because next year that's coming soybeans. So what we're going to do in this episode is we'll get this back to here. We've then got to pick up the trailer and then go to the store, and I've got a new bit of kit that Harry himself has our farm has invested in, and then we will also get the money from the dairy transferred over to the dairy account, so that they get their money back. But what we've bought, we had way more than enough for anyway. I think it was like £80 what I bought. We have more than enough in our own account to buy what I bought. But yeah, so it's been busy, and as I say, that field's taken quite a long time. That's taken me probably getting on for about 7 hours, I would say, ish. About 7 hours all told. The spreading bit was fine. I mean, the other big problem that I had was, as the field slowly got longer, then I was running out of manure halfway down the breed. So then I'd have to come back, and then so 2 loads was finishing one sort of breed, and that's what then really started to slow me down, because then I was getting to the stage where at the road side of the field, for probably 4 or 5 breeds, I wasn't even making it halfway down the breed before I was running out. So, and then I was having to sort of faff about trying to reline myself up and what have you. And so then I went back and patched it where I had missed, and not being able to see the ground, so I could see the texture. It made it really, really awkward. But yeah, as I say, it's done now. They've got some more wheat in the silo that apparently they want to sell off quite quickly, so we'll get that turned around for them so that they can get, I'm assuming the dairy will have a truck firm come in and do it. We'll leave this here for now because, like I say, I want to take the trailer and go and pick up the new bit of kit from the store, but we need a trailer for it. Just because it is a little bit too big for me to carry. I think in real life you just strap it to the tractor, but unfortunately Farming Sim doesn't allow me to do such luxuries, so I'll have to take a trailer and pick it up. But yeah, so once we get that bit of kit, we'll go straight from the shop to that end bit of field. We'll do what we need to do, and then we will start ploughing that. And then, as I say, we'll start roadside end ploughing and work our way back across the field the other way. And what I'll do as well is I'm going to go lengthways down the field, so along the road, because the combine, or the trailed combine and tractor went across the field. So in order to try and get those wheelings out, because back in the day, machines were heavy, and although this wouldn't be a concern for a farmer, in 1950s, the modern farmer in me, and hearing my old boss in my ear saying the combine went that way, so you've got to go that way, take those wheelings out. So we'll go long ways, just because naturally that's how it comes natural to me. But it did in 1950s. It didn't matter, compaction wasn't really a thing, and it just wasn't. So, but yeah, we'll do it that way. Soybeans are looking good. Soybeans will be ready probably October, I would suggest. So they look pretty good. Looking forward to the harvest coming off there. Me and the dairy, I should be okay because my little field should fit in my silo. I'm at least hoping that'll be the case. There might be some left over. If there is, we may have to just tip some at the back of the shed that we've got there, and then they will have to go then before winter comes, so that we can get everything back in the shed and put away for winter. But yeah, me personally, I'm hoping that mine goes in my silo. We are going to be, or the dairy is going to be adding some silos, because they, as I say, originally they did have silos. They weren't using Harry's, but the big silo that you can see there, I assumed that because it was built into the map, would work as a silo, but it's got no face, just there for decoration. So that's got to come down. The shed in front of it's going to come down. A new bale shed's going to go up, and then we can have hay and straw separate, so we can just access it. Because the way it is at the moment, yes, I've only got to walk up to the trigger, press the button, and the hay magically appears from the back of the shed out onto the yard. And I don't really like that. I accept that there's got to be a little bit of magicry in Farming Simulator, because not everything is simulated as properly as it should be. But yeah, it's still, we'll have a straw and a hay shed. Our straw from the soybeans we'll sell, because we need the money. We're not nowhere near as rich as the dairy. As I say, even back in 1950, the dairy was a big going sort of concern sort of thing. So and Harry was well, in 1950 they were called hobby farmers. That they were called hobby farmers because the government gave them a little bit of money to sort of get them started, if you like, and they were called hobby farmers, because a lot of them in the end, you know, yes, they used the money in the beginning for bits of land and some, you know, tractors or, you know, whatever, but ultimately they spent the money on other stuff, you know, probably like living a little bit richer life than what perhaps they were before. They're obviously still making a little bit of money out of farming, but by sort of the 1970s, 1980s, a lot of the farms that started up back in the 1950s, you know, were gone. As in, the family was no longer farming, but the bigger corporations like Harry eventually, but the dairy, you know, first off. I mean, as I say, that was I can't find out a huge amount about the dairy. I mean, Harry mentions it quite a lot, but sort of talks about them in general doesn't really, you know. I mean, obviously he worked there, you know. Then the government did what the government did, and Harry took him up on that because, as he says, you know, I was fortunate enough that his dad had some land, and you know, they turned it over to farm because it was grassland, and it was genuinely mown for horses, because I mean, obviously, you know, in the 19 sort of 10s, 20s, and probably 30s, you know, horses were the main vehicle in you know, farming and what have you. So, you know, horse hay was big business, and you know, they had the land. What they used to do was just rent the land out each year, you know, or sell the grass each, you know, every time a farmer came along. Is literally, you know, the first farmer that came along. It was predominantly the dairy that would take the grass. As I say, Harry obviously, you know, worked there in 1950. Harry was in his 20s then, so and his dad before him with the grass had sort of mainly sold it to the dairy. The other thing as well that they used to do as well was sometimes the dairy would have get my words out, older cows that were no longer producing as much milk, and it was like a sort of kind of temporary stable for them. And they also had some beef cow there as well, some beef stock there as well. So but yeah, that was basically, you know, sort of how it began. And as I say, Harry took on the offer from the government, and turned quite a lot of his, well, at first he turned his the back end field that was wheat last year, that's our soybean field this year, turned that over to wheat, which we harvested as his first crop that he harvested. And then from then on, you know, sort of realised the value in growing crops, and maybe, you know, maybe had a bit of a foresight about, you know, a lot of these hobby farmers, as eventually they would be called. You know, he perhaps realised that if he could get ahead of them, a lot of them wouldn't be around, a lot of them wouldn't still be farming, and that if he could do a good job now, you know, he could really push on in the future. And of course that, you know, eventually was what happened. You know, so to sort of have that instinct almost, you know, that actually, yes, people are taking it up because, you know, it's, I mean, it wasn't necessarily free money, but for a lot of people, you know, after the war in 1950, that money coming in, and all they had to do was produce, you know, X amount of crop a year. You know, didn't matter what the crop was: wheat, soybeans, corn, you know, barley, oats. You know, it didn't matter what the crop was as long as it was producing crop. And you know, and that's, you know, what they did. I mean, some of them, you know, turned over to straight away into cattle, you know, believing that that would be like any, you know, the cows would basically mow the fields and the grass and stuff, and you know, and that, you know, that's how they would sort of get on really. But yeah, so it's an interesting time, the 1950s, because it would eventually come down to, as it always does in life, survival of the fittest. And I sort of kind of think as well, survival of the cleverest, because there were some people that realised what was going on, and yeah, and thought, actually, the future is not now for us. Right, are we able? No, we're not. Darn it. Okay, let's try a different tact. Can I pick it up? Yes, I can. Ooh, that's lucky. Right, so I'll put that in the trailer. That was genuinely my idea from obviously the get-go. Put that in there. Oh, you're joking me. Right, and then we will get in there. I'll have to come out of the cab. Has it dropped it out? Oh no, I can see it. Yeah, so as I say, that was what happened. But anyway, I've waffled on for far too long, so I'm not going to allow you to endure the ride back in normal time. I'm going to do some time lapse. I'm going to leave you with some lovely music, and I will see you at the end. Bye for now. I'm back. So we've got it. We got those bushes down, which was what we needed to do, because the plough definitely wouldn't be able to handle them. I mean, some of them were as tall as what I was, so we got them down. We sprayed the grass off, so we've just got to wait now, sort of 24 to 36 hours for that to sort of take effect, and then we will then be able to get on with ploughing. So it's going to take some ploughing, that bit, because although it is only all dirt, there's no concrete there, but it looks well compacted in, so it might just be that I might plough the field and then sort of plough that separate. Yeah, just because that did look well compacted. But as I say, that'll be tomorrow's job. It'll be take us longer than tomorrow, but we'll get it going tomorrow, and then we can get it started. Then we'll probably have to break at the end. Well, we will have to break when October comes, because we need to get the soybeans in. Obviously vitally important that you get your harvest in above everything. So we don't want to be leaving that out. Hopefully it won't come wet. That this is my I mean, like, modern day farmers with their like sort of 45-foot cutters, sort of don't want it to come wet, because they get a bit behind. But with the size of the cutter on my own trailed combine, and then the dairy, not so bad. They've got a slightly wider cut than me, so them not so bad. But yeah, at the same time, we don't really want any rain, because that really will mess things up, especially as we're only on 2-day seasons, which normally I play 4. But it's even more imperative that we don't get much rain over sort of the next couple of days. But anyway, we've got tomorrow. That will still be September, so we'll get ploughing tomorrow, and then once we've get into October, as I say, we'll do the soybeans, and then we'll go back to the ploughing. Then we'll need to then once we get the soybeans off, the plan is then obviously to get the cultivator out, start dragging the soybean field, and then behind that we'll be drilling wheat. That field's coming wheat next year, so it's a busy time next month in October, and the whole thing relies on there being hardly any rain. And I've not looked at the weather forecast. We'll just take it as it comes, and we'll just sort of hope that we get somewhere. If not, then it will have to come spring wheat, but that then starts to push everything back. It won't be too bad, because next year, the year after, it'll be soybeans again, so we'll have up until the spring, so it won't be a complete disaster. But I would really like winter wheat in there. Just it yields better. If you get a wet spring, the sample's not very good. So all in all, we want winter wheat in there. As for my field next year, that field's coming corn. We'll have the corn as well to harvest as well, of course. So yeah, really busy next month. So yeah, we'll have the corn to harvest. Luckily, that's only a smallish field. I mean, it's a big field for this equipment, but overall it's only a small field, and we should be able to crack on in there, and then get on with the soybeans. As I say, the dairy will undoubtedly want their work doing first. We've got our soybeans to get in as well, so as I say, it's going to be a very busy month next month, and yeah, I just hope we can get it all done, and then once everything's drilled, we can then go back to our ploughing, because as I say, that's coming soybeans, so some winter ploughing in there, and then that should be ready to break up with a drag next year, and then drill as we did this year with the soybean field and the cornfield. And the cornfield will be the cornfield again. As far as I can tell, back in 1950, a lot of farmers planted corn after corn after corn after corn. And we've started doing it now in the UK as well. Some of the farms around me have literally dedicated, however many hundreds of acres, and they just year after year after year, it gets winter ploughed and then drilled with corn in the spring. So yeah, so as I say, that was being done back in the 1950s in America, but it's now starting to be a thing that seems to be being done now in the UK, because a few farmers around us are just, and I've had a word with them, and the fields are coming corn again this year. They're thinking that they should be able to get about 10 to 12 years corn before they'll need a break crop, and then once they've had a break crop, it will go straight back to corn again. So whether there's a new hybrid breed out that means that it will just year after year after year come as good as what they want, or what, I don't know. Or although having said that, a lot of it goes off to as silage goes to the power plant in Boston where I live, so that's probably why they do it. The yield is probably not so important, as I guess, as long as they meet their tonnage, then everything's good. But anyway, I've rabbited on again far too long. I do apologise. I do like talking to you guys, and we'll end the episode here, and as I say, next episode it'll be September 2nd, and we'll be ploughing, and we'll see how that goes. But if you haven't already, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. It really does help the channel, helps the channel to grow. The channel, since you guys have been liking and commenting and subscribing, the channel is growing at a really nice rate, and I'm really grateful for that. So thank everyone for your support and continued support. And all that's left for me to say is thanks ever so much for joining me on this episode. I've really enjoyed having your company, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye for now.